Hi everyone, this is Diane Conroy-Lasavita, Executive Director of Colony Senior Service Centers, and I am thrilled we're having our second installment of Let's Have a Conversation. Today's conversation is with Joan Dembinski, Chef Joan Dembinski. She and I have been friends for about a dozen years, and she is just an incredible person who's had an incredible life path, and I'm thrilled she's taken the time to talk to us today. So good morning, Chef Joan. How are you?
Well, good morning, Diane. It's been a wonderful 12 years. I first initially want to acknowledge you and all of your efforts with the Colony Senior Citizens Centers. I have never realized the extent of need until I was part of your programs in meeting your senior citizens and enjoying the rapport. And I want to thank the Humanities New York State for providing this opportunity for us to have a conversation.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So it's a pleasure to sit in the beautiful sunny day.
Welcome spring, right? Soon
Welcome
enough.
spring.
Yeah. So let's start with the beginning. So where are you originally from? Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Diane, I was born in Albany, New York. Very much at the Albany Medical Center. My mother was a registered nurse and my father was a physiotherapist. They owned the first health club in Albany called George's Health Club. And I grew up loving my city, enjoying the arts and crafts, the libraries, the schools. School 16 was I was at Montessori at Holy Names at 4 years old, where I caused mayhem. School 16 on North Allen Street, and then Albany Academy for Girls. So I had a full Albany experience. Arts and crafts at Albany Institute of History and Art. And my parents and I enjoyed downtown Albany because that's all it was during the wartime. I was a child of the 40s. So growing up, I learned all about what it meant to be alive in wartime and the constraints and the ability of my parents, as resilient as they are, to understand what war meant. And as a child, I remember some of the experiences in Albany with the dark outs and the sirens. So I remember a lot about Albany that people don't remember, but hopefully have documented. But gives me an opportunity just to consider how far we've come and the evolution of Albany and the areas around us and how we've grown.
I have to share with the audience, you sent us a newspaper clipping when you were 2.5 years
Yes.
old, and you kind of took off from wherever you were, and that the blue coats had to pick you up. Do you mind sharing that with the audience?
Oh, well, when I was 2.5 years old, I was in daycare at the time. I think it was Albany Academy on Washington Avenue in Albany. And I decided I got a little bored. So in the winter time, I got a hold of a doll carriage and my little dolls, and I walked down Washington Avenue and crossed State Street. And the blue coats, for some reason, they wanted to know where I was going. I said, I'm going to my father's office at 100 State. I knew where I was going. But they chose to take me in, and they called my parents for some reason. Everyone was frantic except me. But I did my traveling days started when I was 2.5, and I've traveled ever since.
That's a great way of putting it. Oh, it was such a cute article. Thank you for sharing that. So you went to Albany Academy. So what did you do after you graduated from Albany Academy?
I went to Mount Holyoke, and I went interestingly, I went as a French scholar, because when I was a junior in high school, for some reason I was so apprehensive that I did not pass my college boards. And they said, don't bother applying anywhere. And I said, well, I'll give it a shot. So I went to the French professor, Madame Soroka, and I said, I'd like to take the college boards in French. She said, of course. I aced them. Got to Mount Holyoke, and I said, I want this science course, and this one, and this one, and this one. Because at Albany Academy, there was one teacher, Ethel Dodge, that taught chemistry, physics, and biology. And from that point on, everything else in my life was trumped by science. And I went in and I said, I'll take zoology 1, 2, 3, and they're all looking at me. But you're a French scholar. I said, I'll take one course in French. So I was amenable to that. But the impact of science to me was consuming. I took every science course I could, chemistry, physics, and biology. And it was fulfilling to me until they reminded me it's a liberal arts college. I said, I'll take philosophy so I can graduate. So Mount Holyoke was my dream. And after that, my life was basically research. I enjoyed researching at Jackson Memorial Lab in Bar Harbor, Maine, and worked on cancer and on genetics of transplantation. And it was inspiring, it was fulfilling. And when I applied to medical school, they said, what was your, in 1959, she said, why are you even applying? And I said, well, I want to be a surgeon. And the doctor said, well, there's really no room for women in medicine. And I thought, that's your loss. Mm-hmm. So Sterling, I took my little money I had in my pocketbook, and I said to the taxi, I said, take me to Sterling Winthrop Research Institute. Was hired on the spot, stayed there for 30 years, doing preclinical and clinical research. And when I went home that day, my mother said, how was your day? I said, well, I'm not going to go to medical school, but I was hired on the spot at Sterling Winthrop. She said, if you learn anything in your life, go where you're wanted. And that's it's a very perceptive point of view, because wherever you go, wherever you're wanted, if people listen to you and you can learn and have that exchange, that's a good day. That's a good day.
That's very wise. It's a very wise
So she was a very wise woman.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful. So now you're back in Albany and you're at Sterling Winthrop.
From Sterling Winthrop, Eastman Kodak bought Sterling Drug in the late 80s. And my boss said to me, we're opening up a research group in RPI Tech Park. Would you like to be a member? I said, absolutely. So for 20 years more, I worked with Coramed /Omnicare Clinical Research. So that was very fulfilling. We worked as a contract organization. I retired basically, my last trial was, we worked for different drug companies, so how well I know and how appropriate it is to be having this conversation. The clinical trials that I ran were basically cardiovascular. The FDA is always on your shoulder and always watching carefully. I have great respect for them. They monitor your activities no matter what, as far as it is related to clinical research and the procedures and the processes. The Code of Federal Regulations is a series of books about this long, and you have to adhere to it, or else you are in violation, and how well that is imposed on you. So if your life is totally consumed on following the law and making sure that the drugs are being appropriately administered, the patients are well cared for, they sign the appropriate consent form. Statistics, we went over statistics over and over. So honesty and accuracy embedded in your soul. It was a life of 24/7. So when you got a phone call, you got on a plane if there was trouble, and you met face to face with wherever the issues are. So it was a total commitment. So when I retired, 2007, very successful trial with the Takeda folks. I happened to go to SUNY Schenectady, which was Schenectady County Community College, and I went to view a play that one of my colleagues had written. And I met with some of the students in the student union, and they said, how are you? What you doing? Very compatible, very delightful. And I said, what kind of programs do you have? Oh, we have the best culinary program. And I'm thinking, why not?
Yeah. Good for you. Why not?
Why not? I went into the admissions office. I said, do you take old people? I was 71. And they said, yeah, of course we do. We're very diverse. I said, I want to apply and I want to be a chef. Okay. I said, I will pay my tuition ahead of time if you accept me. They said, well, we need to see your transcript. I said, I'm 71. But I will call Mount Holyoke, and I will ask them for I called Mount Holyoke. I said, I want my transcript. They said, well, what year? I said, 1959. They said, oops, that's going to take a little bit. I got my transcript, and I presented it. Zoology, chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, one philosophy course, and one French course. They said, interestingly, nothing translates to culinary. I said, they said, but we'll take you. We want you. So I started at SUNY Schenectady with 5 courses. I walked into class fully dressed in a business suit, heels, stockings, and I looked around. And I looked at the students in hoodies, sweatshirts, flip-flops, and shorts, and I said, I think I better change my wardrobe. I gave all my dress suits to the folks in need, because they had a program for women when they go to their jobs. I said, are you interested in my suits? They said, we have enough. I said, come and see them. They looked in the car. They said, we're going to take all of them. I said, I have more. So I got rid of a lifestyle that didn't mean anything to me anymore. I wanted to be an academe. I wanted to go back into academe, number 1, but number 2. They asked, why do you want to be a chef? I said, my clinical trials had nothing at that time about nutrition. Nutrition, geriatric and pediatric nutrition suck. Meaningless, empty calories. I said, I want to learn, and secondly, because I had the FDA guiding me in rules and regulations, I said, I want to, before I even go near a person and feed them, I want to know what the rules are. I want to know what it means to be a chef. And the school in Schenectady, SUNY Schenectady, I must tell you, was a revelation in understanding the industry. Business plan, menu planning, math, food and beverage, everything that surrounded cooking and feeding someone. Safety and sanitation, primary concerns. So I learned a lot in the sense that I took every course they had. They said, you're graduating with a baking concentration. I said, I don't care. I said, I have the knowledge. My lowest mark was an A- after 3 years. The first week of school, I had wondered what I had gotten myself into, because I thought a train hit me. Because I'm used to writing clinical papers and analyses and everything, and I'm thinking, this is a whole different world. I can't study at night. I'm too old. But I can study first thing in the morning. So you have to reassess your capabilities and understand what you can and cannot do. I said, I am going to school, and I want to learn, and I want to be the best I can be. And I want to understand and not harm anybody. That's my mission. So 3 years later, I graduated with a as Yono says, 3.999. Both my employers are Yono and Donna Pernomo that own DP, American Brasserie, and Yono's. And they have opened my eyes to the industry as it really is, and it is intriguing, but you have to conform to all the rules of safety, sanitation, and hospitality.
I want to know who gave you the A minus.
The A minus was cake decorating. I'm left-handed.
Okay.
And to this day, she said, gee, I wonder if I better reconsider that grade. I said, no, nobody's perfect.
That's right.
I said I earned the A minus, and I earned the lessons why I didn't get a straight A. And to this day, she reminds, she says, I shouldn't have given. I said, no. So that's my academic history.
So you're still working.
I'm still working.
83 years of age, and you're still working.
This is not work.
Okay.
This is a commitment because it's beyond working. It's being at a time, as we've lived through the past year, it's a time of understanding food insecurity. In my community, there are people in shelters. There are people in homes with empty shelves, empty pantries. There are little children that are without. There are a whole area of unemployed folks that are in need. This year, if someone says something, we need, you got it. I am affiliated with the South End Children's Cafe, and the young lady there, the director, has done so much over the past 6 years, but even this year, to try and keep some kind of stability and to address food insecurity daily. So it's a revelation to me that there are people that will now step up and say, we will donate to Feed Albany, we will donate to South End Children's Cafe, we will do what it takes to help our community. So this is, to say I'm working now is every day's a pleasure to do something constructive and meaningful. So it's my profession as a chef to share and provide the best I can.
As you do. In the 12 years I've known you, you're a person who always says yes. You're a person who always says sure. How many times have I come to you to ask about demonstrations or classes or speaking engagement? You always make the time. That
I learned from Chef Yono and Chef Donna, that unless you're impaired, do it. Do it and smile. Don't look for thanks where it comes from, but the assurance that you've made a difference to someone. If you've met someone and made them smile, if you've met someone and given them something that will surprise them, if you've given them something that's nutritious, it's that feeling that you've made a difference, and that's very gratifying. Your thanks come from other areas. Your blessings come from other areas.
Yeah. Well, you are a blessing. You're a blessing to women. You're a blessing to the Capital Region, and you are one of the most humble people I've ever met.
Well, we do what we can.
Yeah.
We do the best we can.
So all those younger women out there who maybe are at that level of, I'm going to retire, I'm done with my career, what advice would you give all of those women?
I'm notorious for saying retirement is passé.
Okay.
I'm notorious for that one. I said it publicly, and I mean it. Retiring to me was like stopping a freight train. I was dreading it. I said, I don't want to retire. I want to be a useful citizen. It happened that my dream was to be a chef. I would say to young people and older people, and even people of my own generation, I'm in my 9th decade, remember that. Go to school. If you have the ability to get yourself out of the house and into a car or on a bus or in a taxi, try school. Do something that gives you a challenge as well as pleasure. The challenge being your capabilities, making sure that you can think about something rationally and do something and execute it to the best of your ability. If it's creating a beautiful quilt, if it's making a beautiful painting, if it's building, do something, learn the rules of whatever it is to do and learn some of the techniques. But do not sit at home and think about, what am I going to do today? Well, I think I'll just kind of clean the house a little and look at television all day long. That's not even healthy. Get out, walk around the block, walk your dog, call your friends. Come on, let's sit, let's have a picnic. Let's do something sane, but do not sit home and do nothing. During this pandemic, I managed, after having a knee replacement, I had to go through the PT, get out and walk, get out and drive. You may not be able to go too far, but just push the ticket. Push the ticket, get out of that chair. That chair will always be there, you won't. That chair is something they sit in for a little while to rest. Rest for a little while. That's an important component of the recipe.
Yes.
But get out and enjoy the beautiful weather. Get out in the fresh air and be productive. Try and be productive in some way that meets your capabilities. And that's what I'm trying to do.
You do it so well. Thank you.
But just think about it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, on behalf of Colony Senior Service Centers and our staff and board of directors, I want to thank Chef Joan for taking the time to have a conversation. Until next time, be well.